Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Play the Hits. Nick, 3 years now since you've been with us on Play the Hits, and we're finally doing the sequel to the game that got you started.
Oh, you know what? You're right. We did start with Rondo of Blood.
Actually, we
Oh,
technically started with a very brief, well, not brief, but we did kind of a test play of, whatchamacallit,
Terraria.
Terraria, yeah.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, but after that, I felt like we had to kick you off with the Rondo of Blood PSP remake. But now we've got this beautiful Rondo and Symphony combo pack that came out on the PS4. So we're gonna finally do a proper run through of one of my favorite games of all time, Symphony of the Night. But one that's kind of divisive for you, isn't it?
I mean, it's a objectively good
Let me
game,
see if I
but
remember this here.
subjectively, I wasn't a huge fan of it.
Okay, it's X dash.
What are
X.
you doing?
Oh, you will see, my friend. You will see. I have to remember how this worked. Was it Ivy? No, we had the exclamation point. Exclamation point V, and then I think it was parentheses Q.
What sort of satanic demon are you trying to summon?
All will become clear shortly.
Zoo.
No, because then that leaves one character. Was it two I should have looked this up before. Oh yeah, no, that's it. That's it.
Episode prep? What's that?
Knowing what I'm doing before going into the game, come on now.
What was all
H2O.
that?
Sorry, what now?
Wait, is this... I don't remember there being a cutscene before the game, was there?
Oh yes. You'll recognize the bad 90s CGI here.
Okay, there it is. Yep.
There it is.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
No, actually, they made this in 2020 for the re-release.
just the interns worked on it, though.
No, actually, they forced Hideo Kojima to do it. He kept telling him he never coded before, but...
That was the last straw.
You know, the way Konami
No, this doesn't look
treated him.
familiar to me at all. I mean, the more I see it.
All of a sudden, it launches into a half-hour monologue about the nature of castles and demon warfare. Oh, it is Kojima.
Oh, that or a book by Victor Hugo.
Right.
Minus the demons, but...
You know, it kind of blows my mind that the very same system...
The hell was that? That was nothing. That was just to show off the CGI. Whatever.
That's exactly right. The really bad CGI. But what I was going to say is it's amazing to me that the very same console that rendered that horrible CGI you just saw also did the cutscenes for FF9.
Well, you know, it also came later, but it also depends on where your priorities are.
Yeah, but like, what, 3 years later? Hardly even a development cycle.
3 years? That's a huge difference back then.
That's fair, but for
the
the
3
same
years gave you the
system.
difference between Doki Doki Panic and Super Mario Brothers 3.
That's fair. But at the same time, you also have to remember, though, like, they were working with the same toolbox, the same system, and it wasn't gameplay, it was just CG, right? So, how is it that Konami, one of the, like, richest, most, prolific studios of that time, was only able to produce what you just saw, whereas Squaresoft, which was still, incredibly successful, but still... I love the lines here. It's not the same, though, as the one that you're thinking of. This is the PSP retranslation.
Oh, that's right. I remember there being a bunch of gamer articles decrying this.
About how it wasn't bad enough anymore. But anyways, yeah, so like Squaresoft with the PS1, like the FF9 cutscenes, I really feel like were straight up like Pixar quality for their time. That was impressive.
Well, Chris, all I can say is, why is it when I give someone a piece of steak, I get one that's I get a steak that's a little charred and overcooked, and then if I give a steak to someone else, it comes medium rare with a red wine sauce.
Red wine. Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, here we go. That's what I wanted.
So you gonna explain the meaning behind doing that name, or what's the?
All will be explained in time.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand how this fight goes, if you manage to beat him within 60 seconds, you get a health bonus.
Yeah, there's actually all kinds of things with this fight that determine Alucard's stats, but that's not going to be too important in this playthrough.
So, as I understand it, if you beat him within 60 seconds, you get X amount of stats with Alucard, and if you do it without any damage, you also get some sort of interesting stat boost. But the best is if you do both. However, I'm pretty sure there's a glitch where if you beat him in under 60 seconds with no damage, you can't collect the Dracula tunic from the librarian.
Yeah. Also, I just embarrassed myself really bad. Like, this is not...
Like, yeah, you knew that, or yeah, I'm just acknowledging?
No, I'm acknowledging.
Okay.
And what I was saying there is, like, I don't remember the last time I needed Maria to save me. So basically, if this were a normal playthrough, I would have, like, the lowest possible stats for Alucard.
Now we're doing this bit. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's a Windows screensaver. Run!
Right. Remember how frustrating this was for me on the PSP version?
I was going to say, yeah, Hydra Storm pretty much ends the fight immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't the other thing you didn't use sub-weapons? Yeah, there's a lot you could do with this.
Yeah, there's actually a whole, there's speedrunners who've mastered the art of beating Dracula efficiently and setting the tone for the whole run.
Oh, God. Yeah. You keep jumping in the left-hand corner during the fight, and somehow it transports you to halfway through the end credits or some crap like that, right?
Hey, you know the halfway through the credits glitch.
Oh, God, yes, of course. Every couple months, there's breathless reporting in the Gamer news websites about 30 seconds have been shaved off of Ocarina of Time's world record. And like, oh, is it still the boring shit where you like jumped into the wall until you're transported into Ganon's castle?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, that's exciting.
Meanwhile,
That's
the
really
coronavirus
exciting.
is still going on too.
Well, I mean, all civilization is crumbling at this point. So.
Yeah, you know, we owe it to the speedrunners for all of the effort they're putting in.
Time.
You know, Nick, you're gonna hate me. I still haven't watched the third season on Netflix.
That's weird because I could swear you had said you had started watching the third season.
I started it, but I haven't progressed at all.
Well, you know, other priorities, right?
Yeah, pretty much, actually. I hate to use the lame excuse of work and family, because that's not an excuse, but...
Dracula's castle beckons for you, and no man can say who
God, look at those layering effects, man. Looks like it's coming right the fuck at you, doesn't it?
For its time.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, too, like, you made the joke the other day about, like, who would willingly do scan line, like the scan lines filter. I think it was the scan lines of those old TVs that really made these kind of effects pop.
Now you've got my brain turning like a hamster in a wheel.
Yeah.
Why did I think there was gunfire? I thought those were stormtroopers firing.
Boom, baby.
It's just lightning. Okay.
Now you'll notice that Alucard's health is at 25, so so already there's a problem. Remember all the controls here. So while not quite on the same level of bad as Mario 3, I will say it has been a number of years since my last playthrough of this game as well.
Well, thankfully you level enough and the game kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah, and believe me when I say that levels and things like that aren't going to be a problem at all.
I do love this clever bit of game design here, you know, with starting you out as overpowered Alucard, only to be stripped of your tools by the Devil's Servant.
I know, right? That part with Death when he just shows up and he's like all up in your business. He's just such a dick.
Simple, easy stuff that helps establish stakes. You know, you can do a lot with very little if you use what you have well.
Oh, yeah. Hey, turkey!
Castlevania Wall Turkey.
Right.
What? All right. I'm assuming this is for something.
Oh, it's for something.
I assume he has to hurt you so much, and then you like Hulk out or something, huh?
Okay, I'm doing it wrong. Oh. 1 second.
Necklace of J. Well, I do not know what's going on in any capacity, so...
Oh, you will.
Hey, you know what the weird twist of...
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
All part of the plan?
Oh, it was not part of the plan. I was at too low of a health. I should have healed. That's hilarious.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I feel like I'm getting the punchline before the joke, but okay. All right.
You gotta trust me here.
So,
oh no! Do I have to do that all over again?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that sucks. Okay. So
And the developers are all just sitting in a room like, no one's ever going to be dumb enough to die before they get to the first save point.
I did like the hardest part, right? Like, I remembered the stupid, like, weird name that you have to enter, but nothing else.
So, you can go ahead and thank Koji Hirashi's Love Life for this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The only reason that this game came about was, Koji Igarashi was dating one of the techs who was working on Rondo of Blood.
Uh-huh.
And he'd go down, I guess they had offices in the same building, you know, because it was the 90s. They just crammed all these video game designers in a warehouse somewhere. And he'd go down and visit her on his lunch breaks and he'd offer advice. And he quickly kind of came to dominate the dev team to the point where they're like, hey, you just want to, like, make the next one and be in charge of it?
Yeah, you want to just, like, eat all of our butts right now, Koji?
What? Anyways.
What? Wait, what?
So anyways, yeah, so there's your bits from Did You Know Gaming.
That's fun.
Well,
I mean,
no,
and by fun, I mean
didn't.
actually kind of horrible.
I made that up till I remembered it's an actual channel, so... yeah, true story.
Nice.
God, I haven't seen a game like this, I haven't seen a game like this become its own genre, you know, as a, like, Metroidvania since Souls-like became a thing.
Now, did I ask you previously what your
favorite
Metroidvania is?
Well, you know me, like, hearing the word Metroidvania is like hearing nails on a chalkboard or chewing on tinfoil for me. I hate that term. Because,
so what's your favorite one?
I've hated it because if you haven't played either of those games, you have no idea what it means. I mean, it's essentially item-based exploration.
Exploration,
right?
Yeah.
Item-based
It's
exploration.
kind of... you're right. It has outgrown the two names for which it derives its identity, right? Like,
but it's easy and most people know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
So,
exactly.
know.
Like, if you ask anyone what their favorite Metroidvania is, they are going to have a very clear picture, even if they have not played a Metroid or a Castlevania.
Right. Well, no, that was my whole point, right?
Right.
That if you haven't played those, you don't know what it means.
Hey, look, Nick, I remembered what the hell I'm doing. It's a shame the first 12 minutes of this stream are going to be that shitty performance.
You could probably zap them with the holy water, right?
Oh, you'll see.
What is my favorite Metroidvania? That's a good question. I have to think on that for a moment.
Oh, come on.
I'm half tempted to say Hollow Knight, but...
I was going to say, yeah, and then there's also the kind of interesting thing, which is that there are, finger quotes, Metroidvania games that have actually, in many ways, superseded both Metroid and Castlevania.
Just kind of like going off the top here. Hollow Knight was excellent. Momodora Reverie Under the Moon was also excellent. Might even be my favorite. Not as good as Hollow Knight, but just my favorite because it's fun.
Count Dracula had risen with the
I have
end
a
of the
controversial
darkness
pick for that one, actually.
Oh, please do.
The
Arkham
legendary
City.
vampire hunter, Richter Belmont,
Yeah,
stood
technically
against
that
and
qualifies,
left
doesn't it?
I mean, it's in full 3D, and, you know, the combat is totally different because it's hand-based, but when you think about it, it literally is. You're given, like, kind of this
set out to find
relatively contained but open environment to explore that gets deeper the more tools you get.
the castle of Dracula. Rumored to
Yeah,
have
you know, I
been
typically don't think of that game as
suddenly materialized from the mist.
in that vein, but you're right. I mean, it does make sense.
Yeah. And honestly, like, not only is it my favorite of that, you know, Batman series of games, but I really do believe that it is one of the better games made in that style.
Purge the world of his own cursed bloodline.
And now I begin to wonder if Rogue's Legacy falls into that category.
Into what was meant to be eternal
That's a good
sorrow.
point.
But now he awakens
Now, did you get into the Metroid Prime games at all?
I played the first two.
Okay.
The third one had motion control, so therefore, by that point, I was old enough to where I decided, no, it's not happening. I'm not going through the motions of pretending I'm going to put up with motion controls again.
You know, the strangest thing, I absolutely adore the first Metroid Prime. And
Yeah,
I
that
couldn't-
was wonderful.
And I couldn't get into 2 really at all. Like, I even got the Wii version to give it, like, another fair try. And still, like, I got into, like, the first quarter of the game and, like, it just didn't engage me.
2 felt lazy and a little soulless. One, first of all, was awesome because that was when Nintendo was into this whole thing of making 2D games into 3D games. You know, Mario 64, Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong 64, Castlevania 64, and they were knocking those out of the park for the most part.
Yeah.
And then Metroid Prime, you know, a lot of people were wondering, okay, well, how is Metroid going to translate? And it did really well. And there was a lot of care and love put into that. 2 just felt stale. 2, I really got the impression that it was like, well, here's another Metroid. Have fun. And like they didn't do anything as far as like trying to build atmosphere or anything like that. It was just like, hey, here's a bunch of dead space marines. You've played Halo, right?
Right.
And then like there's like evil dark slime taking over the world. And there's your story. Bye. It
Yeah,
just didn't have the charm of like, you know, figuring out what those rascally space pirates were up to this week.
I see, yeah.
You know, it didn't have the funny little stories you could read in the space pirates lab about their experiments gone horribly wrong. It was just like, well, here's more Metroid.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can dig. Which is kind of funny for me, though, because in all of my other experiences...
Let me qualify that real quick. The bosses, I thought, were amazing in that game.
Okay.
They were huge, they were threatening, and it was like Shadow of the Colossus. Loved the bosses. That was the only bright spot.
Right.
Go ahead.
So for me, like, more Metroid is almost always a good thing, right?
No.
Well, for me. Oh, shit. God damn it. I
you,
fucked it
sure.
up again, Nick. Ugh. Hold on now.
You know, if I knew what you were doing, I could probably help keep you on the rails.
We're gonna make this right.
Yeah, that's what Trump said when he took office, right? I mean, I don't know if that's supposed to encourage me or what.
We're gonna make this right. Oh, dear. Okay. Now, you die. I'm gonna equip my pot roast. I'm gonna eat my pot roast.
Uh-huh. Alright, I'm lost.
Don't you worry. I swear to God.
Are you trying to get, like, down to a certain number as far as your health goes, or...?
No, nothing quite so complex as that. Where did that... Okay.
Okay, I'm waiting to see the Red Sea part here, Mr. Moses. What's what are we doing here?
We're sucking is what we're doing. So now I'm forgetting, is it it's got to be the third warg.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm probably going to take some damage here, so now I've got to equip all Alucard's shit again.
Maybe Dr. Google knows what's going on here.
He usually does. All right.
Castlevania. What's up with that third warg?
Okay. I really should have done like my homework before the start of this episode, because we're spending like half the time just trying to pull off this one trick. There it is.
Oh!
So take that, Death. So now, you know how you were saying there's like that big dramatic moment where Alucard loses everything and how that changes the game?
I'm sorry, that's hilarious. I've never seen that done before. Oh, that's great. That made my night.
But then there's this damn skeleton to contend with.
Now, why can't you put your sword back on?
Oh, don't worry, that'll come.
Okay, but I mean, I think the save room's right behind this guy, right?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Keep on playing Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Okay, I got you. Don't get greedy.
Nope. Come on. There it is. Okay. Just had to punch that one fucking skeleton to death.
Oh, okay, all right. So let's see. What are we dealing with here?
Okay. Now, for some reason that save point corrects everything. We are now able to access the menu again and equip all
I see.
of this gear.
Now, why is your luck 99?
That's what that code does. So what you just saw,
Really?
and I don't know who figured this out or whether that was I can't imagine any of that was intentional because it clearly upsets the balance of the game's code. But someone figured out that with the luck cheat, you can actually make Alucard go flying like you just saw.
That's weird.
Through like a random number generator sequence, past death, and he gets to keep all of his amazing gear from the beginning of the game.
I'd heard that you can keep your gear, but I've never actually seen it done before.
Yeah. So I'm doing this
Interesting.
for two reasons. One, the beginning of the game is kind of a drag anyways, where you're like where you're just kind of like going through these like gigantic corridors forever before you actually get any upgrades. And not a whole lot else happens. But then also, like, even though at the beginning of the game we're basically invincible, because we're using the luck cheat.
That's why you started with the Lapis Lazuli.
Yeah, things will balance out here quickly. Hey, fuck you.
Okay, yeah, I actually just read about this on the wiki. Yeah, that's true. You know, I've never seen anybody play as... Are you able to play as Maria in this game?
Yes, so the really cool thing about this
nice.
one, it's
that
the
I've
Saturn
never done.
version, yeah. I mean, it runs smoother, but it is the Sega Saturn code with Maria and everything.
Okay, nice. I've never done that. Huh.
Come to
Well, I
think of it,
really
neither
wish
have I.
this would end up on Steam.
Yeah. Actually, I think it is on Steam, isn't it?
No.
Rondo of
no.
Blood Collection's not on Steam?
Nope.
Oh, well, that's a bummer.
No, I would have definitely already played this to death at this point.
Well, now Nick may have to get it for the PS4.
And now I know. Well, if I ever had my PS4.
Who's got your PS4?
I gave it to my younger sister and brother.
You want to fucking go get it?
Well, you know, they're playing stuff on it. I mean,
I'll come to Ohio. We'll go get it.
With the whole lockdown thing, it would be good to give them something to do.
Yeah,
He's
there
got
you
his Switch. Angelina's got the PS4. So,
go. You got your sexy old PC.
well, I mean, you know, my PC is, you know, there's pretty much nothing I can't play on there.
That's right. You are the PC master race, as Yahtzee would
You know
say.
what amazes me is I'm still getting mileage out of this PC after having owned it for like what, freaking 11 years?
You know, that's kind of the nice thing about PCs. You buy a decent one and then just maintain it. You can even though it's a higher barrier to entry with price and kind of know-how, you can
Not
very
as much
easily be hanging
anymore.
on to
I
that for
mean-
quite a while.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, I know.
Classic duo, Slagra and Gabon. C-3PO and R2-D2. Helter
Sodom and
Skelter.
Gomorrah.
Bert,
Oh, wait.
Bert and Ernie.
Bert and Ernie. Jasper and Horace.
God and Satan.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Ronald McDonald and Burger King. Okay, that's a bit of a stretch.
Ronald McDonald and Burger King. I think you're gonna go like Simon and Garfunkel or something next, but that's alright. Well, so I feel like I don't have any tricks left to show you now, though.
Well, I mean, it's well, I miss these days when these Castlevania games had fun modes you could play as. You know, like what is it? Circle of the Moon did that too. Like there was a mode where you had all luck, or you
Mhm.
had all the cards and unlimited magic, all attack power.
Circle of the Moon is probably the most like criminally underrated entry in the whole Castlevania series.
I would dare say it's might even be my favorite.
Really? I wasn't gonna
You
go
could just
that
do
far, but it's a
so
damn good
much
game.
with it. Well, I mean, yeah, but there was so much replay value with that game, and it was
With the
fun.
card system, yeah.
The card system, the different modes you could play, because like you really had to adjust your play style depending on what mode. It wasn't just like a quick shuffle of the stats or anything.
Right.
And it was fun for me because I never really dabbled with the magic system my first time around, so it was fun, you know, like having to change my whole play style.
You were talking about the boss fights in Metroid Prime 2. Now, Circle of the Moon had some really good boss fights as well.
I really can't remember any of them, strangely enough. I mean, there was Death, there was like Hugh.
The two that jump out at me most are the gigantic, like, room-filling Cerberus boss fight, and then
Yes, you had one on your left and one on the right, and you had to like fight in between them.
and then there's like the final form of Dracula himself, which was
Yeah.
really
Did have some pretty
Epic.
decent bosses. Yeah.
like I
Or just
remember
a
that
couple
one
really
being the
notable
only one where
ones.
Dracula's transformation really felt like
Wait.
he was trying to kill
Are
you.
you human? What are you doing here?
I've come to destroy this
I'm
castle.
here looking for you, baby.
Likewise.
What's up?
I'm Maria. And you are?
Alucard.
Well, if you're a better swordsman than a speaker, perhaps I'll see you again.
Oh, I can handle
Farewell.
a sword, baby. He does his like best Austin Powers impression. Oh, I can handle a sword, baby.
What determines the time in the clock room?
I don't know, but there is. You're right. There
Wait,
is
I
something
think it might
to
actually
opens
be
up a
the
secret
game clock.
passage.
Right, yeah, because those alternate passages depend on like what time the clock reads. But I think it really is your game clock. I think.
Oh, is that right?
I think.
That is interesting.
You
'Cause
know,
they would have
there's
had to
a-
reprogram that then for the PS4, because obviously, like, if it's looking for the PlayStation or the Saturn's clock, it's gonna be confused as all get out.
Maybe there was more to it. I don't know.
But you know, that's kind of the cool thing about the PS1 was the technology was just burgeoning enough where they could like do kind of creative things like that. Like for all of like the hype that surrounds Metal Gear Solid, like for instance, the Psycho Mantis reading your memory card thing was kind of neat. I always enjoyed that.
Well, it was very neat, yeah.
and then like
that was
having to
before we
unplug
all
the controller
became
and
cynical and jaded when we all knew like how he was doing it. You know, back then it was like, oh wow, that's interesting.
oh god, he knows what I've been playing.
Yes, the PS1 was technically advanced, but not advanced enough to make your game disc smell like human blood, like Hideo Kojima wanted.
Right. Oh, I just remembered how to do that move. That's cool. I always
Now,
like that. It's pretty much useless because, yeah. There we
Well,
go.
I mean, if that enemy has kind of a weird hitbox, but
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, they have to. You really have to know like exactly where your enemy is laying for Alucard to connect with that one.
Right.
It goes like exactly halfway across the screen. Oh. So how have you been in the 3 or so days since we played Mario 3?
Same old, same old. Actually, I've been really enjoying the Terraria updates. I finally
really?
got into that a few days ago. Yeah, I'm
So
going
what all
nuts
did-
with the
what-
base
What all
building.
did that add?
It added a couple final bosses, as well as just a lot of quality of life tweaks that have been asked for a long time.
Okay.
It also added mini golf and kite flying.
Mini golf and kite flying.
Yes. You never knew how much you needed it until you didn't have it, and now you want it.
Nick's just flying. It cuts to like Nick, and it's a beautiful day. He's in his living room. The sky's blue. The clouds are, but he's on Terraria flying a kite.
That sounds pretty much how the weekend went.
Well, I was gonna say that's kind of like the running joke with Animal Crossing, right? Like there's these, like, forgive the stereotype, but like 400-pound dudes in their mother's basement, and they're like running grocery errands for the villagers, and they're putting up a barn, and all of this, that, and the other thing, and all the while, like, the real world is passing them by. But the same, I think that's an unfair criticism leveled against Animal Crossing, because really that could be said for any game.
Well, I mean, you could take that back to Tamagotchis with all these kids forgetting to feed their pet goldfish.
Right.
And,
I mean, like, even this game, you and I could be in a European castle looking for treasure right now, but we're not. We're here
Yeah, we
playing
could,
Symphony.
but all that treasure's been looted.
Not if it's in Transylvania, Nick. I mean, who wants to go there? What with all its hauntings, vampires.
If there was a reasonable chance for treasure, but moderate haunting, I'd be down for that.
Did I tell you about the Netflix Dracula reimagining?
There's been so many of them that I cannot keep straight.
Yeah,
Is it
so-
pre or post Gary Oldman?
Oh, way post. This was like within the last year. So Netflix did like a mini series. It was 3 episodes. And each episode is like an hour and a half long, so kind of like 3 mini movies kind of thing. And the first episode actually, it's kind of like this really slow burn, and it focuses on Jonathan Harker as he goes to Dracula's castle, and kind of like how Dracula is slowly like trying to drive him mad. And there's like some parts in it that are like legitimately scary. Like it actually makes the story of Dracula kind of horrifying. And it also, like, if you've read the book, it tweaks the established canon in like a couple of little ways. Like you don't quite know where they're going with it.
That was anticlimactic.
I know. It's all like very familiar, but at the same time, like you recognize that there's some minor differences, right? And then at the end of the episode, it kind of takes like a weird left turn. And then after that, the second and third episodes really are not good.
I kind of figured it was going that route. It's usually how series with interesting promise like that go, right? You're like,
Yeah.
is this gonna be different than the source material? What kind of interesting?
Right.
Oh, nope. Now they've just got AK-47s and they're shooting Dracula.
Well, so I was
Okay.
gonna say, I'm guessing you have no intention to ever watch this, so I'll just spoil it for you.
I don't even know it exists. But,
Yeah, right.
I don't even
So-
have a Netflix account.
You called it exactly. He travels into the future, and he confronts the female ancestor of Van Helsing, who wasn't the doctor played by Anthony Hopkins, but she was like a medieval nun who had lost her faith and studied the sciences. And but again, that was kind of an interesting turn. It's like, okay, so gender bending Van Helsing, I could get behind that because she's a good actress and it seemed really good. But then, yeah,
You know
like I
what's
said,
better is when they have a twist like that, but it's good.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, the first episode I was willing to, be on board with some of those changes because I'm not like such a purist that I feel like every adaptation needs to hold exactly to the source material to be good.
Oh, neither do I, but just as much so, I hate changing it for the sake of changing it and nothing beyond that.
Well, and that's the thing, though. Like, the whole first episode, they make you think that this is just going to be kind of a sort of interestingly contemporary retelling of Dracula, and then... and by contemporary, I mean just like, modern storytelling methods, but, very much still in the late 1800s. But then they just jump forward 100 years for no reason at all, and it's like, hey, how about instead Dracula's in 2020, and for some reason I don't even know what his motivation was, honestly. Like, that's how little I cared for this, where like I couldn't even be bothered to fully digest the plot. Like, he kind of wanted to turn people into vampires, but then he kept killing them. And
has there been a single good iteration of Dracula in modern day world? Because I mean, it didn't work with Lords of Shadow 2. It didn't work here.
I still kind of like the...
It didn't work with Dracula visits Harlem.
Right. I still kind of like the Gary Oldman version. Oh, you mean like modern as in like Dracula's living in the 20th century or later, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I've never seen.
Or modern
in fact,
Dracula.
anytime they try to do that, it always feels super ham-fisted. Like, even with like horror or like monster movies, like, did you ever see Jason X, where for some reason they put him into fucking space?
Well, I mean, at that point, the series had kind of fallen into self-parody anyways, right?
That's kind of the nice thing about those 80s horror movies, though. They weren't, like, afraid in later entries to, like, lampoon themselves, because they knew that they were just cash grabs milking the originals.
I've begun to notice that when it comes to my taste in movies, I've really become fond of movies from, like, the 60s to the 90s.
Oh, yeah?
I feel like I really just can't sit through a movie unless it's got a certain amount of cheese to it.
Yeah,
I
I'm kind of
just
the same
really
way.
can't stand anything that can't.
I guess it's not totally true for me, but you go first.
No, go ahead, because it was just gonna be me shitting on Marvel.
Well, I was gonna
movies.
say, so that's usually true for me too, but like at the same time, my favorite movie ever is The Godfather, which completely takes itself seriously. So
well, there's a difference between cheese and like, oh hey, here's here's a masterpiece of a movie that was thought out well. And
Come to visit, have we?
I need your help.
I want you to help me kill my dad.
I could never betray you.
good old
I really wish you
patricide.
would let
You
it drop.
won't go unrewarded.
Really? In that case,
I love how his inflection there implied that the reward may have been like something somewhat illicit. You won't go.
all the
Unrewarded.
peyote you want.
thank you.
Thank you.
Couldn't hurt to have a magic ticket, right?
Oh yeah,
How
that's
about
true.
this?
A couple of those are always useful, especially because you can just come back here and buy another one when you use it.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
We-
it's a
we're good.
library card in this game.
Yeah, they just call it library card. Which
Well,
I guess makes
um,
more sense.
I enjoy the charm of a low budget movie or something like that. Like if there's not at least one scene where an actor is like standing there awkwardly because the camera didn't shift away a couple seconds too soon or too late.
Yeah.
Or like someone has legitimately forgotten their line, or you don't see a boom mic in the background.
Right.
I mean,
Or like
I'm not
my
having
favorite
fun.
ones are like in some of the kind of like lower budget films where they're having a conversation and like all of a sudden like the plot is supposed to turn, they hear like a noise coming from outside the house and they pause and like, wait, what was that noise? And then they like show you the whole like transition of them getting up from their chairs, walking out the door, heading out into the yard and looking around.
yeah, right.
Instead of just like fading away and then cutting back out into the yard, and it's like nothing's here. It's like
That's the scene.
That's the whole
That's
scene. I love those kind of things. So
I guess it was nothing.
yeah, I guess it was nothing. So I've got to ask you now then, if those you and I seem to share relatively similar tastes in movies. Then, did you ever see the Christopher what's his name? God damn it, Count Dooku. He just died not
Christopher
too
Reeves.
No,
Christopher.
oh my gosh, not Christopher Walken, not Christopher Reeves. Help me out here. He played Saruman in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, son of a...
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee. Oh, yeah, Christopher Lee, right, the one that did the metal album. Anyways.
Yeah, did you ever see his Dracula? Well, he did a bunch of Dracula movies, but
That was the one with Gary Oldman, right?
no, that Gary Oldman was Dracula in
Oh,
his
okay.
movie.
No, it's a movie where there's two Draculas.
So Christopher Lee is probably the most famous rendition of Dracula outside of the old Bela Lugosi film from the 20s.
Wasn't that one Nosferatu?
No, Nosferatu was the silent film before Bela Lugosi.
That's right.
Why do I know so many Dracula films? Anyways,
What was the controversy with Nosferatu? Never mind, I don't want to get too far.
I think it was just so horrifying for the time that it was released. I mean, it's still actually kind of, it's really unnerving today if you've ever seen, have you ever actually seen that film?
I have not seen it in its entirety, but
It's
I've seen
I don't know, like 35 minutes long, I think, but it is,
it's short and it was banned in a lot of countries.
yeah, the imagery of it really sticks with you. It's, and it doesn't even bother you that it's silent because you're just like kind of on the edge of your seat the whole time. And
yeah, I mean,
it is a shorter film, but it feels long because of how creepy and unsettling the monster is.
Well, I'll take that over a film that's 3 hours long and I can't recall 5 minutes of it. So,
Nick,
but
quit
hey,
shitting on
enough
Endgame.
about Hey, I haven't watched Endgame. I was actually a bit of a Hobbit's prequel thing. But anyways.
Oh, I got you. But okay,
whatever
so
ended up happening with Endgame? Did they kill Thanos?
oh yeah, so
That's
well,
nice. Anyways,
twice
what were you
actually,
saying?
twice. I'm not shitting you. They killed him twice.
I'm sure they did.
So
But they went back in time and just aborted him, right?
right. So, that's actually the plot of the comics. God, you're getting me off on all these tangents right now, but the one that I want to focus on, so the first Christopher Lee Dracula from the 70s, is actually also very serviceable. So now, I don't know why, but in all of the, not Castlevania, Dracula adaptations, they always seem to want to condense the cast. Like, they'll combine two characters, or like, they'll just cut one out, like, all together. Like, you know, what did Quincy really contribute to the plot? Do we need Quincy? No.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that. So, and they did that with the Christopher Lee one. The Gary Oldman one in the 90s actually had the full cast, but it made other kind of departures from the book, which weren't bad, but also weren't really my cup of tea. All this is to say, though, given kind of your flair for the kind of low-rent, self-aware, almost like pseudo-comedic tone of these movies, did you ever see Dracula Dead and Loving It?
Oh, I remember when that movie came out, and little baby Nick was like super scared of it.
Oh, really?
I had seen snippets. It's like, no, he got shot. It's too scary.
So the funny, Dracula Dead and Loving It is one of my favorite comedy films of all time. I shit you not. Like, you should give it a rent or a purchase, or I don't even know how you would attain it today, but
I'm sure it's somewhere on Amazon.
Right? It was honestly one of Leslie Nielsen's best roles. Like, he was absolutely hilarious, and in that deadpan way that only he can pull off, you know, where like
Leslie Nielsen? Oh, I have got to check this.
oh my god. So it's Dracula, but Dracula is the sole like sane, intelligent person in this film cast of like hilarious actors all doing these like ultra cockney British accents, and it is uproarious. You have to see it. And I don't know if it was just like the time that no, it couldn't have been the time, because a lot of the humor in it probably went over my head, because I think I was like you, I was a little kid when it came out, but you know, my mom rented it and I thought it was like the funniest thing I had ever seen. But then I watched it again when I was a teenager, and like I actually understood all of the jokes, and it was still every bit as fucking hilarious. So yeah, highly recommend Dracula Dead and Loving It. I think it's right up your alley for the kind of humor and just film in general that you seem to enjoy.
Okay, so I'm getting Dracula Dead and Loving It confused with Dracula in the Bronx. Totally different movie. Totally different movie.
Yeah, and I don't think that one was intentionally a comedy.
Okay, yeah. No, I've heard of this one, but I've never actually seen this one.
Oh man, you got to check it out. It's
Interesting.
I'm
I'm gonna have to, because I love Leslie Nielsen.
And you know, if you love Leslie Nielsen, you will love this, because you know it was right at the height of his fame. He basically had a blank check to like ad lib and play the character however he wanted. And the guy who does Renfield is like pee your pants funny too. There's a scene where Lucy tries to seduce Jonathan, and it also does the thing that the Christopher Lee movies did, where it condenses the characters. So instead of Dr. Seward and Van Helsing and Jack and Quincy, you actually just get Jonathan Harker as kind of like the stand-in for all of them, and then Mina is just Lucy, but she dies, just like in the book. But you wouldn't watch it for like a serious adaptation of the Dracula novel, right?
Well, if you're doing that in a Leslie Nielsen movie, you're got no one but yourself to blame.
Yeah, you're barking up the wrong tree anyway. But oh my god, like it's.
Oh, this costume has got to be straight out of like Halloween Town. Delightful.
Oh,
like,
are you actually Googling it right now?
I'm looking at the cover. Yeah, I'm looking at some scenes here. Like,
Oh,
this
God,
is like
dude.
Dollar Tree Dracula. I love it.
Like, if you have like Vimeo or something like that where you could like rent it online, just do it. Like, make that
I'm
your
pretty sure
evening
it's on
after you're
Amazon
done with
Prime.
me here.
It is indeed on Amazon Prime.
Sweet. Wait, for free or you have to
I
purchase
think
it?
it comes with, yeah, I think it comes with Prime Video.
Oh shit, I may have to watch that.
Nope, JK, but you can rent it for 99 cents.
Oh, that is more than worth the price of admission. Even if you end up paying it 99, it's hard to argue with 99 cents.
Oh, well, it was directed by Mel Brooks, so
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Mel Brooks, that's so I thought it might have been Mel Brooks, but I was afraid to say it and be wrong.
I was afraid to invoke the name and do it insincerely.
Well, because then you'd be all excited for a Mel Brooks movie and have it not be.
Oh god, I cannot believe that up until last year I was getting Mel Brooks and Mel Gibson confused.
Oh God! Wow.
Yeah, boy,
Which
that
is-
really colored my idea of Blazing Saddles.
You just thought that Mel Brooks was like a self-hating Jew.
I thought that's where he got his creative drive from.
Oh God. That's all. What also made him go off on that cop that one time. Can you picture Mel Brooks doing all the horrible shit that Mel Gibson has done?
Well, that was the problem with it. I mean, it was one of those like cognitive dissonance things, though, that, you know,
Right.
if I'd thought about it for 15 seconds in my life, I'd have figured it out.
You'd have known that this can't be right. Wait a minute.
Well,
Goddamn,
he's
I didn't
clearly
wanna
an
go down
anti-Semite, but damn if he doesn't make some funny movies. God. Bless America.
You don't
Wait,
see.
don't you have to keep going up?
No, I gotta go through here.
Oh, wait, actually, don't you have to take the elevator somewhere now that that's activated?
Yeah, I already did. I got the wolf power up.
Oh, that... Okay, I must have been looking up Dracula.
It's all good.
Good
So
lord.
yeah, definitely check out Dracula Dead and Loving It. Well, crap! I just completely ran out of steam. I was so excited to talk about that.
And
I didn't plan for anything else.
Well, hey, you know what? I mean, if you're ever looking for a new movie, you can always sit down and watch Horse Ninja some evening.
Horse Ninja.
Horse Ninja.
Please
Look
enlighten
it up.
me.
Look it up. It's a thing. He's a horse, he's a ninja, and it's live action. And it was never actually released.
Is the horse somehow bipedal?
Red Letter Media actually has a really good kind of history of what this movie was. There is
How it
apparently
affected the
back in the
cinematic
age of,
landscape of North America?
back in the age of like when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was popular. Another company decided, hey, let's have the same thing except a horse at a racetrack gets
God
exposed to
damn it.
mutagen, and now he's a ninja.
Nick, we went all the way to the fucking library and I didn't buy the key.
Oh, I thought Maria gave you that.
Nope, I'm
Why don't you
stupid.
choose your library card?
Hey, good idea.
I've got a magic ticket.
I got a magic ticket. Da 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 da.
Suppose you could just sell all these swords you're never gonna need.
Well, so that was the other reason that I did this trick too, is that it pretty much saves us the trouble of ever having to go through and navigate the menu. Wouldn't it be great? the keeper of the library here, he's all nervous. He's like, I don't know if I should be helping him. Oh, maybe he'll get lost in Dracula's castle and never come back, and this whole thing's just gonna blow over. And an hour later, Alucard warps back to his front door, and he's looking all pissed off. I forgot to buy the Jewel of Open.
Thank you.
Now, you did buy a new library card, right?
Yes. Forgot to. Alucard's just looking all sullen and serious, but you can tell he's pissed off. I forgot to buy the Jewel of Open. Ah, yes. I was so worried about the map and the scroll that I...
My big thing was I would always forget to get the, or I would never know how to get the mist form. That's what always stymied my progress with this game.
The mist form.
Mist form. It's somewhere in the
I
library.
remember it, but it's been just long
Because
enough
you need the
for me
mist
too.
with the bat.
Yeah.
Because I remember my sister Brianna was playing through this at one point, and she was like, Nick, I'm stuck. What am I supposed to do? And of course, that was back in the day when I was Wikipedia. You know, like, if you got stuck,
Wikipedia.
you have to ask me because the internet wasn't a thing. And then, so I was like, entirely flummoxed. You know, it's like going through Final Fantasy IX and not realizing Cujo was a character. It's like, what am I missing? I've played this 10 times.
Why is that girl in the steel thong attacking me? That's a boy? I swear, I straight up did think Cujo was a girl that first cutscene that he was in.
Well, I mean, how many of us thought that Soma Cruz was a, you know, girl as well?
Yeah, Soma is a very pretty man.
I had one of those moments with Final Fantasy IX, like from Family Guy. Oh no, Kuja, he's trying to kill us. You mean she's trying to kill us? Right.
You mean she's trying to kill us? Oh god. Oh man. But yeah, you have to download that FF9 mod too, and let me know just how radical of a transformation it is, because I'll probably...
check it out, because I could go for another Final Fantasy IX run through. Plus, if it's the Steam version, it's got that fast forward feature.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would probably... Not probably, definitely shell out the money again during the summer sale for yet another iteration of Final Fantasy IX.
Well, that's a game I think I bought at full price. That was one of the few day one purchases I ever made. But then again, it was also like $20. So.
How'd you get Final Fantasy IX for $20 on day one?
On Steam. Okay, it might have been a 10%.
Oh, I thought you meant like back in 2000.
Oh no, I paid full price for that sucker and a functional PS1 just
hell
to
yeah.
play that game.
Dude, I do not blame you. I have such vivid memories of like the day Final Fantasy IX came out. That was magical.
What got me into the series in the first place.
Oh really? That was your first Final Fantasy?
I had seen other snippets of the other games, which, mind you, back then were very hard to come by because
Sure.
you can only get 5 and 6 from the anthology series.
Okay.
But yet none of it quite caught my imagination as much as 9 did.
Oh yeah, no, 9 was very special. But I had been playing, so it was actually Max. Hey, cool, library card down here too. It was actually Max who introduced me to Final Fantasy with Final Fantasy, finger quotes 2 on the SNES, which was really 4. And that's where I really got in. So I had played FF6, and then 7 and 8, of course, were the reasons I bought a PS1. But then by the time that 9 came out, man, I was like, that really was like the golden era of JRPGs, was like the late 90s, early 2000s. That was... FF9 was just the icing on the cake.
Oh, FF9 and not Chocobo Dungeon?
Hey man, don't you ever talk shit about Chocobo Dungeon. Actually, that
It
brings
was,
that
Go ahead.
brings another thing to mind that I'm really curious. Did you ever play Xenogears?
I did not. It's on my bucket list, but I mean, it's a little intimidating knowing that I'm in for 100 hours, if
Yep.
that.
I was just gonna say like that would be a Play the Hits project if Play the Hits were like actually our full-time career.
Full-time job, yeah. or-
Yeah. Like no joke, if we ever actually start making money on this channel, like if we ever get monetized, I'm calling it right now, we will do a Xenogears playthrough. Those are my conditions.
That'll go up there with my 24-hour Dwarf Fortress stream for charity.
Excellent.
Do
We'll
a charity stream, but nobody's watching.
we'll get the completionist and Pro Jared and they'll join us.
All the fallen angels.
Yeah, right. Actually, no, Pro Jared's back. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard. It just turns out,
That his wife was an awful human being, and that the people who were accusing him were doing so to get famous with the Game Grumps. Oy, what a shit show.
what?
So
What?
yeah, the person who accused him of sexual harassment was straight
Uh-huh.
up doing it like so that they could become friends with the Game Grumps. Like they
Well,
didn't go to the
what?
police with this information. They went to the Game Grumps and like they had like doctored all of these like chat windows. It was horrible. I mean, like I don't want this to become like any kind of gossip.
How does that, like, hey, Pro Jared sexually harassed me, can we be friends?
I don't know. Like this person is very clearly mentally unstable. Again, like I almost feel bad for even talking about it on this channel because, like, whereas I will slam dunk on President Trump all day, like I legitimately feel bad for like how this story played out because the guy
I
that's
thought it
going.
was like some strange, like, open marriage thing, and you know how well those
Well,
turned
yeah, but I
out.
mean, like, if that's what floats your boat, who am I to judge? But like his marriage had fallen apart. Like he was already in a really rough situation, and then it was just compounded by like all of this crap. Like the whole reason I'm talking about this is I'm actually kind of glad that we're not YouTube famous because like even someone who like does their level best to avoid drama tends to get caught up in it when they become internet famous.
Well, there's, yeah, well, yeah.
But yeah, that whole thing was shitty, and like the only reason I even know the story is because like I actually really love his videos and Let's Plays because he basically plays all the same shit that you and I like to play. You actually really should check out his review of FF Tactics, come to think of it.
You know, I watch exactly one YouTuber, and I think I'm at capacity.
Really? Because I think
Yep.
I think you would very much enjoy the
I've seen
road
some of
trip
his
through
stuff,
Tactics.
and it wasn't bad. You know, it was certainly high quality stuff, but it just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I do.
I enjoy watching Joel on Vinesauce do his thing, and then basically saying, "All right, fuck you, I'm going home. Don't bother me."
Next time on Play the Hits, we're gonna go through this underwater cavern. We're gonna get monetized, and then we'll start our Xenogears playthrough. I'm calling it now.
Then the charity stream, the
Yep.
Xenogears charity stream.
Pro Jared, if you're listening, we're so sorry. Please play with us.